Este video está en inglés. Si quieres verlo con subtítulos en español, idealmente velo en un computador y no en un dispositivo móvil, y puedes activarlo clicando el botón subtítulo y luego configuración, subtítulo, traducir automáticamente y eliges el idioma que te acomode, en este caso el español.
I'm standing here in the city of David, the place where Jerusalem began. And if this is the city of David, it begs the question, where was King David's palace? Until 2005, all of this is underground. Our visitor center was directly above my head. One morning, a woman named Dr. Eilat Mazar comes into our offices and says to us, "You need to move your visitor center." We asked her why. She says, "Beneath your feet, you will find the palace of King David." So we said, "Dr. Mazar, people have been excavating here in the city of David for nearly the last 150 years. No one's ever said that before. What makes you so certain this is the place?" So she shows us a discovery made some 60 years ago of a royal Phoenician capital. Phoenicia is modern-day Lebanon, and this capital would have stood atop an ancient column or pillar in an important structure. Dr. Mazar says that this royal Phoenician capital proves that where I'm standing right now is the location of King David's palace. We asked her, what's the connection? And she says in the second book of Samuel, chapter 5, King David has conquered Jerusalem. Immediately afterwards, he turns to his neighbors in the north, the Phoenicians, and in verse 11 it says, King Hiram of Tyre sent envoys to David with cedar logs, carpenters, and stonemasons, and they built a palace for David. Why do we find a royal Phoenician capital here in the city of David? Dr. Mazar says the reason is because it was the Phoenicians who built King David's palace. So Dr. Mazar begins to dig, and she finds to the north, to the east, walls more than 20 feet thick, and at the base of those walls, antiquities dating back to what she believes is the time of King David 3,000 years ago, strengthening her belief that she had discovered the palace of King David himself. Because when you're in the place where the Bible happened, the words of the Bible come to life.
The city of David, where it all began.
Hello everyone, thanks for watching this with me. I don't want to make this video too long, so I'll go straight to the point. Summarizing all that was said in this video, apparently, according to the people of the City of David Foundation, the remains of the palace of King David have been confirmed on solid scientific grounds. Or maybe that's what they want you to believe. Or maybe that's what they truly, deeply believe without caring to look at the academic debate regarding this issue that has been going on behind their backs for some time now. Whatever the case, if you're interested in this topic, please continue watching this video and allow me to read to you an abstract of an MA thesis by a scholar named Connor Martin, whom I don't have the pleasure to have met or talked to yet. But this is, in a nutshell, a brilliant exposition of the real state of things at the scholarly level regarding the so-called Palace of King David. Let's begin. Media and Motivations, a discourse analysis of media representations of Eilat Mazar's City of David excavations by Connor Martin Trow. Submitted in total fulfillment of the requirements of the degree of Master of Arts, 2010. Okay, so it goes like this. The primary aim of this thesis is to examine the scholarly discourse surrounding the recent excavations conducted by Eilat Mazar at the City of David site in Jerusalem, specifically her claims regarding the unearthing of King David's palace. Through an analysis of the reports and results published by prior excavators of the City of David site, Mazar's conclusions regarding King David's palace will be critiqued, as will the ideologies of her chief sources of funding, the Jerusalem-based Shalem Center and the Ir David Foundation. This is the City of David Foundation. Social context surrounding Mazar excavations will also be examined, highlighting text often omitted from archaeological discourse, such as popular magazine articles, tourist pamphlets and blogs, in order to better understand both the ideological and political agendas that impact upon Mazar's conclusions and publications. The politicization of archaeology throughout the Near East, whether it is a mission of Muslim history from Jerusalem tourist brochures, or the complete denial of any Jewish historical claims to the Temple Mount, is an issue that greatly affects the interpretation, publication, and dissemination of scholarly debate. Elad Mazar's work at the City of David is a prime example of this issue, for while archaeologists internationally and domestically continue to debate her conclusions, the popular press has presented her findings as near definitive facts. Mazar's aim to uncover the palace of King David is therefore not the primary issue, for although her belief in the historicity of the biblical narrative certainly influences her results, it is of greater concern that the public's access to all academic arguments and theories is being limited. The fact that in over 50 articles published about Mazar's discovery of King David's palace, not a single one mentions that her conclusions are based on preliminary results, illustrating this lack of transparency. Ultimately, it is the intention of this thesis to not only present the arguments for and against Elad Mazar's interpretations regarding King David's palace by comparing her conclusions with those of prior excavators and recent academic responses, but also to show the motivations behind her results and the impacts of funding, politics, and faith social context can have upon scholarly conclusions. Now let me just jump to page 80. Unfortunately, due simply to a lack of quantifiable evidence to support any theory, all interpretations of the material evidence thus far excavated at the City of David remain improvable. Apart from the conclusions offered above, the evidence to suggest any economic, administrative, or even military activity does not exist, with what little that is datable showing the site was not developed until the Iron Age 2B, several centuries after David's reign. As a result, there is nothing from the archaeological evidence provided by Elad Mazar or any prior excavators of the site that suggests the walls comprising the large stone structure should be interpreted as having once functioned as King David's palace. So that's it. That's all I wanted to show you. As I said before, I didn't want to make this video too long, but I really recommend you to read the whole document. It's very interesting. And you be the judge. See you next time.